The wife of a Holland area man accused in the 1987 murders of his sister and her husband took the stand for a second day of testimony this morning. Ryan Weingarten is charged with the cold case murders of Gail and Rick Brink.
Disturbing cold case of obsession and incest finally solved. Amanda and James Brink. One man in Michigan took to heart the saying, "Three can keep a secret if two of them are dead." He killed himself and two other people to hide his past. Today, we'll look at a strange story about secrets, incest, and murder. This is a story about jealousy and a man who was willing to kill to keep a secret to himself. Let's jump right into the juicy parts of this story without further ado. Our trip takes us to Holland, Michigan, a place with a lot of Dutch history and culture. Gail and Rick Brink lived in Park Township, which was just to the north. Gail and Rick couldn't wait to start fixing up their new house so they could start a family. Sadly, jealousy and secrets killed those dreams. Pam Weingarten hid the truth for 25 years to protect her career and her family. On January 18, 2013, the agony of knowing something but not being able to tell anyone came to an end. Meeting with the investigators face to face, Pam let the man she married run her life. For 25 years, she lived with the knowledge of how Gail and Rick Brink were killed. She lived with and loved their killer, who was also her husband, Ryan Weingarten. In 1984, Gail Weingarten and Rick Brink met for the first time at work. Gail was 19 and Rick was 22. Gail was one of 8 kids, and she worked hard to get where she wanted to go in life. When she first met Rick, it was a happy accident that they were both driven. Rick spent his days doting on Gail, and they both realized that they had found the perfect partner in each other. Now, all they had to do was start working together to make the life they wanted. Lars, the ex-boyfriend of Gail, thought long and hard before he decided to end the relationship. Reports say that Lars didn't handle the breakup well and went up to Gail. Lars hit Gail during the fight, which made the fight get physical, so Gail went to get help from her older brother Ryan. Gail was ready to move in with Rick and study a new part of their lives together once the problem was fixed. On April 25, 1986, one day after Gail turned 21, Rick married her. After their honeymoon, the couple went back to Holland, Michigan. They found the perfect house, a wren-shaped house on 20 acres of land. Gail and Rick moved into the house in 1987, and while they were married, they kept making improvements to the property. All of that was going to change, though, when Rick and Gail Brink went to the wedding of one of Rick's high school friends on November 21, 1987. And this was the last time anyone saw them alive. The next day, both Rick and Gail Brink died. Rick and Gail didn't go to work on November 23, 1987. Rick's parents, Gareth and Isla Brink, were surprised when their son's boss called them that day to tell them Rick wasn't there. They both drove to the couple's house on Ransom Street. The SUV Rick drove was still in the driveway. Gail's car was still in the driveway as well. The next thing they saw was what every guardian feared the most. Officers from the Ottawa County Sheriff's Department came and made sure the scene was safe. Gail was found dead in the couple's waterbed. Her face was covered with a bloody pillow, and when it was removed, police could see that she had been shot 3 times. Rick was lying on the front seat and a bullet had hit him in the head. They called the police right away, and Ottawa County Sheriff's Department officers came to the scene and made it safe. At first, the crime scene looked like a murder-suicide, and the police thought Rick might have killed Gail and then shot himself outside. After moving the bodies, the police were able to say that a murder-suicide did not happen. Even so, investigators were able to rule out the idea that there had been a theft. The police figured out that a .22 caliber revolver was used, but they did not find the gun at the house, even though they knew it was used. The police found 6 fingerprints on the victims, 4 of which belonged to the couple, and 2 of which were from someone else. One fingerprint was found on the toilet seat, and the other was found on the phone. Both were run through the system, but no matches were found. Ryan and Gail's older brother was said to have said that they were the nicest people in the world. I've never seen a couple get along as well as they did as the investigation went on. In his statement, Brian brought up a possible suspect, Lars, who used to date Gail, is said to have been angry after the breakup. Lars was not a suspect because he admitted to hitting Gail, but said he wouldn't have killed the newlyweds. After Lars was ruled out as a suspect, the police had to start over to figure out who did it. A month later, on December 24, 1987, there was another terrible crime in the area. Deborah Wilson's body was found in the backyard by her husband. Rock's neck had been cut, and the similarities between the two murders piqued the public's interest. The police started to think that there might be a serial killer in the area. Rick and Gail were killed in a way that looks like an execution. This means that the killings were planned. After that, a new idea came to light. Gail had been looking into financial problems at work when she noticed a file she had carried home was missing. After extensive investigation, this theory was eventually ruled out and the case became cold. Detectives Venus Repper and Dave Blakely began their investigation into this unsolved crime in 2007. After researching the case, they discovered that Ryan Wingarden, her older brother, was claimed to have made some odd comments. At family gatherings, Ryan was known to act suspiciously. He once confided in a family member that he could see someone approaching Gail's bedroom along the highway, and the description of the event was chillingly accurate. His ex-girlfriend Pam, who claimed to have been with him the night of the murder while they were washing laundry. Detectives examined the reports and found a contradiction between Pam's comments and the results of her polygraph test. As a result, they concluded that Ryan had a credible alibi on the night of the killings. Ryan and Pam were married in 1989 and remained so ever since. Detectives learned Ryan was dating Pam at the same time as he was seeing Crystal. Ryan and Crystal had been in a 4-year on-again, off-again relationship. When Pam and Ryan started dating more seriously, Crystal ultimately dissolved the relationship. When detectives questioned Crystal, they learned a bombshell that turned the investigation on its head. A few days after the murder, Ryan took Crystal on a drive and revealed to her about his earlier insidious relationship with Gail. Then Ryan revealed to Crystal that he had a sexual relationship with Gail that started when he was 12 and she was probably around 9 years old. Ryan confessed to Crystal that he lusted after Gail when they were on the vacation, but that it seemed only he was aware of the scenario. Ryan reasoned that Rick might be aware of his prior misdeeds with his sister, since Rick had spotted him glancing at her. The confession was insufficient to convict Ryan. Ryan was questioned by Blakely on his friendship with Gail. When Blakely continued her question about their sexual relationship, Ryan pretended ignorance at first. As the tension in the room increased, Ryan said, "Well, it's just kids' play." On January 18th, 2013, the truth was finally revealed. They had to look a little further and talk to Pam. She acknowledged lying during the investigation and said that while she had been washing laundry with Ryan, he had departed for a short while. On Sunday morning, Ryan had come to her disturbed and had been pounding on the door desperately trying to communicate when she let him in and asked what was wrong. Ryan had left alone, returned a short time later, and then left again. When Ryan admitted to killing Rick and Gail, he informed Pam that a family issue had arisen and turned into a major dispute. When Rick went out to his SUV to grab something to aid Ryan once, Ryan came to Gail's house, pretending he was experiencing automobile trouble. Rick seized the opportunity. After shooting Rick twice in the head, Ryan entered the house and shot Gail 3 times as she slept. He claimed to Pam that he had killed them because they thought they were superior to the rest of the family. Pam was then taken to the crime scene by Ryan so he could show her what he was capable of. She fled to the house in terror after hearing that if she had called the police or told anyone what he had done, it might happen to her. But she stayed with Ryan at his residence. He later confessed to Pam about his connection with Gail, that he had been envious of the two of them because of their success. Ryan has not made much progress in his life. He was envious of his sister's new partner because he was envious of his sister's success and happiness with her new partner. He was also envious of Gail because she was the love of his life. Pam's remark was immediately followed by Ryan being arrested. When the authorities investigated Ryan Wingarden's house after his arrest, they only discovered a .22 caliber rifle. At the Ottawa County Circuit Court, the trial started in March 2014. When the jury's judgment was announced on March 28, 2014, Ryan Wingarden was found guilty of both murder charges. He was eventually given 2 life sentences without the possibility of release. With that, we have come to the end of the video. Thank you for watching, and guys, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and also press the bell icon so you can watch the upcoming videos. Also, share your thoughts in the comment box.